Homes in DC were going under contract in 3 weeks, but today, that same home sits for a month or more. The Washington, DC housing market just shifted, and where you land in it depends on whether you understand what's happening or whether you're still playing by the old rules. Stay with me until the end to get a hold of what's going on. Look, for a long time, the DC market ran at a pace that tired people out. A listing would hit Zillow on Thursday, and you tour it on Saturday, and by Sunday night, it would be gone. Just like that. The seller got multiple offers, the price went over asking, and the buyer waived everything and still left the negotiation feeling like they won. That was the game, and most buyers were exhausted playing it because at the time, you either closed ASAP or watched them remove the for sale sign while arriving for your second tour of the home. That energy has been gone for a hot minute. Homes are sitting on the market longer than they were a year ago. Price cuts are showing up on listings that would have flown in 2022, maybe a little bit higher even. And buyers are getting to think overnight before making a decision. Back in the day, this would have been unbelievable. Let me be straight, DC hasn't crashed and the prices haven't fallen off a cliff. So don't go get any ideas trying to undercut the seller by too much because you might lose the dream home. What's happening for real is that the pace has come way down and the whole thing has settled closer to neutral. Market forecasts are pointing to a flat price moving ahead, not the big jumps we were used to seeing. Smooth selling, just not the good kind if you're a seller. To add to that, in certain pockets of DC proper, list and sell prices have dipped compared to last year. And others though, they're holding or creeping up slightly. It depends heavily on where you are and what you're buying. Even the same neighborhood can have very different prices depending on the property. Metro-wide, the typical home is now taking a month or more to go under contract. This lines up with what I'm seeing every day. Don't worry though, DC still moves faster than most of the country, trust me. But buyers aren't getting steamrolled the way they used to. And when we get to what's driving all of this, it connects to something unique about DC's economy that most people overlook. I'll break that down in a bit, but before that, let's move on to something that makes the buyer side have way more leeway than it had just a year ago. So slowing down doesn't mean opportunity disappears. Sometimes it means opportunity gets a lot more accessible. And that starts with what's showing up in the market right now. If you're watching this and thinking you want a real read on what your specific situation looks like in this market right now, that's exactly what I do. I work with people on both sides of this shift every day and can tell you directly what your options look like. Reach out, all of my info is in the description. Now back to it. Walk into a DC open house right now and you'll notice something you haven't seen in years. Other buyers touring the place without that panicked energy. They're checking the cabinets and looking closely at the granite and discussing what they would do to a room if they close. They have time now. Nobody's clutching an escalation clause like a lifeline. The whole vibe is different, and the reason is pretty straightforward. There are a lot more homes to choose from. Active listings across the DC metro are up compared to last year, with some months running well above where inventory was sitting 12 months ago. Buyers are scrolling through real options in their price range instead of clinging to the one that half-decent listing that popped up. Still though, I'd rather you know what you're getting into here because the inventory story is not the same everywhere. DC proper has moved into genuinely balanced territory. There's enough supply on the market that neither buyers nor sellers hold a massive advantage over the other. The area is sitting with several months of supply on hand. In the surrounding suburbs though, it's a different story. Areas like Arlington, Bethesda, and Alexandria are still on the tighter side. A townhouse in a closed-in suburb can still get swarmed like last year. A condo seller in DC has to work a lot harder to find a buyer. When people aren't terrified of losing the only decent option in their price range, they stop making panicked decisions. They stop waiving every contingency. The mood has shifted from, we'll do anything if you accept our offer to, we like your place, but we've got a plan B. That transfers real negotiation power back to the buyers, especially on listings that aren't priced sharply or don't show well. That shift in power feeds directly into how pricing is playing out across the city right now. There's a split happening between the sellers who are moving homes and the sellers watching their listings grow old enough that they can drive a car. And the difference between them almost always comes down to one decision made before they even put a sign in the ground. Most people hear the market soften and think everything is on sale. But that's not what's really happening here. Let's be real. What's going on is that sellers are finally reading a room, and the ones doing it right are pricing to where the market actually is, not where they wish it still was. Look, for years, the move was to list high and wait, and it worked wonders. Buyers were so desperate, they chased the price up. But that playbook is dead in DC right now. Homes priced like it's still 2022 are sitting, getting stale, collecting price cuts and dust every few weeks while the sellers watch their other listings move. Every day a home sits costs something, whether that's carrying costs, missed windows, or the weight of watching it go cold in the market. It's a doozy. What's happening is more sales are landing at or below asking than we've seen in years. You still find those 20 offer circuit situations here or there, but they're the exception now. A well-priced home in good condition might draw a couple of strong offers. Sellers who price honestly and show their home well are still winning. But stay with me, because when we get to what's driving all of this underneath the surface, it explains why DC is behaving so differently than other metros right now. That's coming up in a few minutes. Talking to you, sellers, the market still rewards you if you're realistic. And buyers, the days of coming in wildly over asking on everything are over in most of DC. Hear me out for a second. You have two buyers with the same budget, same neighborhood wish list, shopping the DC market at the exact same moment. One walks away with serious negotiating power and time on their side. The other still needs to move fast when the right home shows up. How come? The only difference between them is what they're buying. The DC housing market right now is split into several, and what you're buying determines almost everything about how you experience it. Condos are where the shift is most pronounced. Condo inventory has grown at roughly double the rate of single-family supply, and the condo sales are softer because of it. In newer, high-amenity areas in DC like Navy Yard, Waterfront, or downtown, there are lots of similar units competing for a smaller pool of buyers. Units are taking longer to move though. If you're a condo buyer right now, you hold more of the cards than you've held in years. You can negotiate, ask for concessions, and take your time without feeling the clock burning down every second. Single-family homes play by different rules. They're still moving with more strength than condos when they're priced right and in good condition. There aren't many great detached homes or renovated row homes in the closed-in parts of this region, and that scarcity keeps demand going even when the overall market cools. Don't worry, you don't have to panic the way you did in 2021, but you do need to be ready when the right one shows up. You can still close quickly on a good deal if you're well prepared. Now, most agents skip over this entirely, so listen up. DC has an older housing stock. A lot of properties sit on the market not because of the location is bad, but because the work required is more than the buyer wants to take on with the cash they have. Renovation loans are a serious tool in that situation. That kind of financing can bridge the gap between what a home needs and what you can stomach financially. Those properties are out there right now in good locations at prices that reflect the work required, but you just need to dig a little. The buyers paying attention to that are going to do well. The reason all of this is playing out the way it is connects directly to what's happening underneath DC's economy. And once you understand it, the whole picture snaps into focus. Cities slowed down because something went wrong, but DC is doing something different. The pause here goes back to something that has always defined this market. This city runs on the federal government, and it's the capital of the whole country. So it couldn't be any different. What that means is that's been its strength forever, that stable employment, consistent demand, and an economy that doesn't collapse when other cities cycle down. But right now, the same dependence on the government is creating headwinds that flow directly into the housing market. The DC Metro is one of the few mid-Atlantic markets expected to see flat or slightly negative price movement, while other nearby cities keep climbing. Nothing too crazy, just some small corrections downward if anything. But there are shifts and uncertainty around the federal workforce, tempering demand. When the biggest employer in your market is going through instability, people get cautious about making the largest financial decisions of their lives. DC proper is carrying one of the highest unemployment rates in the country right now, largely because this is a government-based economy. It's pretty wild to hear about DC of all places, but that's the current picture. And I'm not trying to scare you here. I just want you to know the reality you're working with and I'd rather you know it going in than figure it out after. We saw it earlier this year. There was a real spike in canceled contracts. Deals that would have closed without hesitation 2 years ago were falling apart because of uncertainty in the broader environment. DC's market is recalibrating, but demand hasn't disappeared. The federal economy has always had cycles, and DC has always come through them. What's changed is that demand no longer wildly outpaces supply the way it did for years. The current balance is just that, a balanced, stable market. Buyer psychology has shifted right alongside the economy. After a couple of years of buy anything at any price before the rates go higher, people are more measured. They see more inventory, they read about the softer pricing, and they know they don't have to make split-second decisions anymore. This is DC stabilizing. And for the buyer or seller who understands what that means, there's a clearer path forward. The DC market finally stopped running on fumes. And that distinction is the whole thing. So if you want a real breakdown of what this market means for your specific buy or sell situation right now, email me directly at hello@coalitionpg.com, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm seeing on the ground in your price range and neighborhood. I've linked a video here that breaks down DC's most underrated neighborhoods in 2026, the ones where buyers are finding real space, real transit access, and prices that the rest of the market hasn't caught on to yet. That's your next watch if you're looking at this market. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.